My best friend discovered her boyfriend secretly uploaded their private moments online, and it shattered her beyond repair. Now I'm the one trying to expose him while the world blames me for her parents' loss. Posted by u/throw_ra_Mishuracy. Rosie, 22F, and I, 22F, grew up together since kindergarten in a conservative area, and she has pretty conservative parents. Rosie was very introverted when I met her. It took weeks for her to talk to me in a normal volume. In contrast, I was a very loud and outspoken child, and over the years it rubbed off on her. Her parents are very nice people and have never said it to my face, but I know they thought, and likely still think, that I am a bad influence on her. We were in the same school until we were around 14, when she moved away, and we lost contact for a while. Neither of us had smartphones back then. We would email every month or so, but she had very limited computer time as well. When we were 18, we got into the same college and reconnected, although we did not see each other often because her studies were very demanding. We were not as close as before, but we still talked a couple of times a month. I still considered her an important friend. 2 years ago, she got her first boyfriend, Darius, and it was obvious she had never been happier. I had never met him in person but had only heard good things from her. Her family knew about him and approved of their relationship. About 2 months ago, she found out that he had been secretly filming their intimate activities and posting them on older people's sites. He did not censor her face, and he had amassed a significant number of followers from these videos. She was mortified and heartbroken but did not want any of their mutual friends knowing, for fear that people in real life could potentially search for and see those videos. Since their social circles were very intertwined, she had no one to confide in, and I was one of the few people who knew. She stressed that her parents could not find out. They were under the assumption that both she and Darius were Christians and were saving themselves for marriage, and if they found out, they would likely cut her off financially. Her mutual friends with Darius did not know what happened, only that she dumped him and it did not work out. She became very depressed and wanted to unalive herself afterward, and, having dealt with feeling down and thoughts of unaliving myself, I took her out almost daily to check on her and so she could have someone to vent to. Her other friends noticed she was down, but she attributed it to dealing with the breakup and the stress of impending exams. I do not know what the exams are called in English, but they are something like the bar exam for lawyers. It is a big deal. The day she died, I went to pick her up from her dorm for dinner, but she did not answer her phone or the door. She lived in a single room. I do not want to go into the details, but I was the one who found her. She did not even leave a note. I had to call her parents and tell them about it. When they came, her mom started shouting that I was a bad influence, that I gave her depression, and implied that I drove her to unalive herself. I heard through the grapevine that Darius told her parents they were only on a break and were working things out. He has been comforting her parents and helping organize her funeral and memorial. I am disgusted. I want to tell her parents, but I do not want to tarnish Rosie's memory. I also do not think her parents would believe me. I am not invited to her funeral, and I am wondering if I should go anyway. I want to see her one last time, but I am afraid I might cause a scene if I go. I also have not cried once since the incident. I think I may still be in shock. I am waiting for the grief to hit me, but it still has not yet. I feel like I am supposed to be traumatized, but all I feel is numb. I do not know if this is the right subreddit for this. I usually read stories like this in Best of Reddit updates, but I never expected to be the one posting. I'm looking for advice on whether to go to the funeral, whether to approach her parents or confront Darius, and, if so, how. I guess I also need advice on how to navigate this whole situation emotionally. Please let me know if this is the wrong place to post, and I will post elsewhere. I know Reddit is often quick to suggest therapy. I am on it. I cannot afford individual therapy, but I am on a wait list through my university's mental health program. I do not have an exact timeline for when I will be seen yet. Edit, I tried replying to all the comments but got a bit overwhelmed. Thank you all for the advice and hugs. I want to clarify a few things and share what I have decided so far, thanks to all your help. Rosie deleted all the videos she could find when she found out, and we talked mostly in person. I have some texts from her saying how betrayed she felt and how exhausting it was keeping up appearances and pretending to be fine, but nothing concrete. I have decided not to go to the funeral. I want to respect her parents' wishes, and it probably would not end well anyway. I am working on finding out who else Rosie told. She said she only told 2 other high school friends. I did some Instagram sleuthing and believe I found one of them. I sent a message asking to talk about Rosie, but she has not responded yet. After the funeral, I want to tell Rosie's parents part of the truth so they can have some closure and kick Darius out of their lives. I want to punch his face in, seriously. I hope to enlist the help of Rosie's other friends who have more credibility with her parents. So far, I am thinking of telling them that Darius filmed her in the shower without her consent and posted the videos. That way, it is 90% the truth, and I would not have to reveal that they smashed. I will leave the decision to pursue things legally up to them. I will still try to reply to comments, but I need a small break for now. Talking about this is pretty mentally draining. Thank you all again. Relevant comments. Commenter 1, you're in a very difficult situation and should probably be seeking advice specifically for the proper way to handle this within your culture. In some cultures, it would be appropriate to honor your friend's wishes that her parents never know about what happened, while in others like mine, it would be right to seek out truth and justice. OP, thank you. I did not consider cultural sensitivity. I will ask my parents and other trusted adults. Commenter 2, OP needs to report this to the police. OP, I do not know how I would go about reporting this. I do not have any evidence, as she deleted all the videos she could find online and physically. How do I bring this up to them? Would they even take the case? I may also have to ask for legal advice in my country, but please let me know, if you have experience, how I would go about making a report on behalf of a deceased person with little to no evidence. Commenter 3, the friend didn't leave a note, and this shady guy is being really helpful. I don't like it one bit. Maybe I watch too much true crime. But something smells fishy. If she was going to go to the police, that's motive. OP, personally, I do not think the guy had anything to do with it. She really wanted to unalive herself, and I believe she could have done it herself. She lived on campus in a girls' dormitory that has a security guard and does not let any guests in unless accompanied by the student themselves. They made an exception for me because we told the guard she was dealing with mental health issues, and I was allowed to go in to check on her daily. We also gave them Darius's specific photo to let them know not to allow him to enter. I think he is just trying to keep up appearances as the charming, sensitive guy we thought he was. It also makes for a good sob story, as someone above mentioned. But I will look into it to see if it is possible to report him. Commenter 4, I do not think you would be dishonoring her legacy by telling her parents the truth. You would be protecting it and her parents from Darius. I agree with another commenter that his helpfulness and the lack of a note do not add up. Almost no one does not leave a note. I would go to the police. In the US, sharing big people videos without consent is a crime in some states. OP, we are not in the US, but it is a crime here as well. I'm going to seek legal advice after replying to all the kind people here. Commenter 5, depending on where you live, Darius could be charged with causing her death. I would seek advice from law enforcement. In most places, it is not legal to secretly film someone like that and post it. Since that directly led to her death, it is possible he could be charged, but you would need to have some sort of proof. Even text messages or something between you and your friend, and then let them investigate. OP, I do not think I have enough proof. Her having deleted everything she could find when she found out makes it hard for us to get proof now. I wish she would have kept the evidence, but I cannot blame her at all for being emotional in the moment and not thinking clearly. Update, 1 month later. Hey, I just wanted to write down my thoughts and update anyone who was wondering about how things went after Rosie's funeral. Rosie and I grew up in religious families but both deconverted around high school. She was not religious for the duration of her relationship with Darius, but her parents believed she was still Christian. I know firsthand how damaging purity culture can be, and that was why Rosie did not want people, especially her parents, finding out about her having had smashed, even if it seems normal for most college students. Also, I mentioned in my last post that I was very loud as a child. That was true. I was feisty and kind of obnoxious. However, my personality did a complete 180 in high school when I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety. Now, I am introverted and do not have many close friends. Anyways, here's the update. I reached out to Rosie's high school friend Maggie, who I believe she also confided in about the Darius incident. Rosie had also told Sophie, another high school friend. The three of us swapped stories and ended up reaching out to Gwen, Rosie's best friend in college. Gwen was doing an exchange program overseas at the time of Rosie's death, and she had no idea all this had been going on. Rosie had been telling her everything was fine, that she broke up with Darius but did not want to talk about it, and that it was mutual. We decided to tell Rosie's parents an abridged version of the truth. We told them she was filmed in the shower instead of during Smash, because we felt that where we go from here is ultimately their decision and not one we should make for them. Gwen, who is on good terms with her parents, met with them to tell them in person. Thankfully, they believed her right away. With Rosie's parents' blessing, Gwen blew up all of their group chats, telling people what Darius had done. She also shared the abridged version of the story. Within a couple of hours, Darius's ex, Nora, 21F, from about 3 years ago, reached out to Gwen to say that she had also been filmed without consent and was too scared to say anything before. Nora made an official statement with our school, and the school is now investigating Darius. Nora and Rosie's parents have also gone to the police. Nora had more solid evidence against Darius, so hopefully, they will convict him. Unfortunately, this meant we had to come clean about what Darius had actually filmed. Rosie's parents were not as mad as I feared and did not hold our abridging of the truth against us. There is no verdict as of now. The legal system works surprisingly slowly. Personally, I suspect Darius will get at most a slap on the wrist because his parents are well off and well connected. On the bright side, his social reputation is completely ruined. Most people trusted Gwen and Nora's statements and have given Darius hell. He took a leave of absence from the school and will likely have to go to college overseas if he ever wants to graduate, because everyone in their major knows about it now. Some alumni from their field even caught wind and got involved. It has been very chaotic. I have asked Gwen not to involve me in any of this beyond providing the police with any evidence I have and possibly being called as a witness. My mental health has taken a huge hit from all of this, and I do not have the energy to keep up with the details. However, I have asked Gwen to give me significant updates. Personally, I am doing as well as one can after all this. Which is to say, I am struggling but hanging in there. I am depressed but not wanting to unalive myself. Thank you for all your condolences in the last post. A few short personal updates from me. Rosie's parents, after Gwen told them, they reached out to me and asked to apologize in person. I did not want to see them, so we agreed to a phone call instead. They apologized profusely for lashing out at me. I forgave them. They did not know what was going on. I was hurt, but they had just lost their daughter and were understandably very emotional. I probably will not have much to do with her parents going forward. I did not see them very much before, but I am glad to have resolved this misunderstanding. Gwen was not able to sit down with Rosie's parents until after the funeral. She also had to miss it because she was still overseas at the time, so we waited until she came back. Sadly, this meant I missed the funeral. Rosie was cremated, and her parents gave us, through Gwen, some of the ashes. Gwen took Maggie, Sophie, and me to her and Rosie's favorite spot on campus. We set up a picnic there, spread some of her ashes, had a moment of silence, and started swapping stories about Rosie and her life. I had my first real cry after Rosie left, maybe 3 weeks after her death. It was very cathartic and, hopefully, the first step to healing. I told my parents about everything, and they helped me find a therapist with a shorter wait list than the ones through school. I have already done an intake session, and I can expect to be seen in as little as 2 weeks by a therapist specializing in grief counseling. In the meantime, I went to some support groups with Maggie, Sophie, and Gwen. Personally, I do not think the support groups worked for me, because every time I talk about it, it feels like reliving the whole experience. I will stick to individual therapy. Sophie and Maggie are still attending the sessions, though. My semester is almost over, so I am trying to tough it out until then. I have told professors in my department about Rosie. They have already heard about what happened, and they have been very kind, granting me extensions on most of the work I missed. I am not sure if I will be going back to school next semester or if I will take a break to recover mentally from all of this. Maggie, Sophie, Gwen, and I have bonded over this shared trauma. Rosie had a pretty consistent taste in friends, lol. We will keep in touch and lean on each other. That is about it from me. Thank you if you have read this far. Typing this out has helped. Relevant comments. Commenter 1, oh gosh. Take care of yourself. You've certainly been through the ringer. I'm glad you got the apology and that they realized they were wrong. Now you need space and time to heal. OP, thank you. My main goal was not to get an apology, but I appreciated the closure I got. No hard feelings towards them. I absolutely cannot imagine losing a child. Commenter 2, sometimes public shaming is more brutal than prison time. The internet is forever. As you said, he's dropped out of school and won't be able to get a job in his chosen career, and I suspect many people will make sure he can find decent work elsewhere. People still bring up Brock Turner all the time and share his image. Hell, he was added to a law textbook, if I recall correctly. I think he does have a job, but it is not a great one. I have not seen anything recently about him. He goes by his middle name now? I'm sorry about the loss of your friend. I wonder if your country has revenge video laws? Maybe you guys can work towards getting them on the books if you don't? I'm sure there are plenty of people willing to help. OP, I'm glad people are willing to believe Rosie and Nora. Sometimes people do not believe victims, especially when the person in question is as good at faking being kind as Darius was. Yes, we do have revenge video laws. Rosie's parents are handling it right now, and I have not been involved.